All right, what's up, folks? Welcome to Foreign and Domestic. It is good to be here. Good to see everyone out there. Lots of people out there already. And this week, I'm going to ask a special guest, Gary, if you would, sir, would you say the pledge for us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice, sir. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Alan, what's going on, man?
Oh man, been another busy week, but nice and hot and humid. Just another 65, 70 hour work week, but I'm going to come over here and see just once if YouTube says who's all watching the show at the moment. The show. That would be the one, the only Clovertack, the leprechaun. Edward Petty, Gizzard Gary here in the room, Jerry Parker, Kingpin, Ozzy Osbourne, Pink Shears, Rich White here in the room, Tactical Flood, Tim S., and the YouTube auditor. Firearms 101 stepping in, but for the YouTube auditor, I've got not only one, but two gifts for you.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. Daniel, what's going on, man? Been a busy week for you.
Yeah, busy, just stressful. Had storms come through. This is like ground zero. They had over 200,000 people without power, and most of those, they didn't get their power back for 4 or 5 days. Had a huge straight line winds coming in 90 mile an hour plus, and lots of tornadoes. A couple little towns out here got flattened. So it was just dealt with that. We didn't have it too bad here at our house because we were only without power for a couple hours, but I'm running generators around, making sure the older family, they were doing okay, stuff like that. And along with all the other things in life. But, when you're old, everything's a big deal. So, but hey, thanks for having me on. Hey, folks out in the side chat, glad to see you again. That's all I got to say about that.
Good deal. You had someone graduate, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I went down to South Carolina. My daughter graduated from basic training. So there was a road trip there. That road trip was really good. Now she's out there at Fort Gordon out in Georgia. So I don't know. What is it? They send the Yankees down to the dirty old South.
Is she going for communications?
Yeah, communication.
You know how I know? That's where AIT was for me, was at Gordon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then she get done with that there, and then she'll go on up to Alaska.
Awesome. Very
That'd
cool.
be a road trip that way too.
You planning a road trip to Alaska? I might have to tag along.
Oh yeah, and when I was down there, I got to stop and just swing by and say hi to this old man. He's like my pops. I just went out on a quest looking for him. So, but it was really nice just swinging by and saying hi. I still owe that guy a tube of toothpaste.
Rich, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, not too bad. Figure send me invites, so I'll pop in for about an hour or so before I have to go and do my own show. So thanks for the invite, man. Don't get to do this very often.
I got so many people on email. I always forget, man.
Hey, no sweat. Like I said, I can't stay the whole show anyway. So, sometimes it's better just give it invite somebody that can stay the whole time, so
Yeah.
it's not really disrupting anything. But I do appreciate it when I do get the link. So
what's been going on with you, man? What's happening?
no, not too much. I already filled you in on the wife situation on the text and everything. So far, so good, waiting to see what she goes for further testing, see what turns up. But right now, everything's looking pretty good compared to what it could be, so it's a good thing.
Yep. You been getting any range time or anything?
Not with these prices, gas prices and stuff, and having to rely on her to get places. It's kind of hard to get to the range right now.
Yeah.
And with her work schedule, because she works in healthcare herself, on top of having to go for all these tests and stuff, so she's not going to have but one day off this week coming up because of her work schedule. So
Well, I'm glad things are going well so far, at least.
yeah.
Never good. Gary, how you doing, man?
Oh, not too bad for a guy my age, I guess.
What's been happening in your world, man? Anything good?
Well, let's see. Finally getting settled in after a couple weeks of traveling. Kind of been staying put for a week, which is nice. But I spent a weekend down in Houston, and then the next weekend I went up to Nebraska for Thunder on the Prairie. So I've gotten to see a lot of new faces out there and meet up with people that I've known for a long time. So that's always good. Getting to shoot with fellow YouTubers is always a plus. So been
Awesome.
doing a little bit of networking. So
How was that?
it's fantastic. I recommend. They're going to do it again next year. If you get a chance, go. Definitely. People in Nebraska are awesome.
I've driven through Nebraska once. I really didn't want to drive there again.
It's such an interesting trip through Nebraska, though.
It's kind of a mixture between Iowa and Kansas. I mean, you've got the flatness and the corn. So
That's all you see for hours upon hours upon hours. It was hard not to fall asleep when I was driving through there. I think at the time that's when I was still smoking cigarettes. I think I went through probably 2 or 3 packs just driving through there. It's freaking ridiculous. Clover, what's going on, dude?
Then there's this other guy down here. The one,
YouTube
the
auditor.
only, the tactical leprechaun, Clover.
Yo, this is a treat. I don't get a link very often, so thanks. But to be honest, I won't be able to, like Rich, I won't be able to hang too long. I've got Father's Day festivities, of course. So happy Father's Day, everybody out there to whom it applies. But yeah, it's been a minute.
Yep. How's the little Irishman doing?
Can't complain. If I did, wouldn't anybody listen? So, yeah, not terrible. Just getting into summertime, man. I don't know. I'm not a big summertime fan. Not living in Texas anyway.
I hear that. Like you've been seeing what 110s, 120s.
Yeah, we've got some 3 digits already. It's starting to creep up that way. Yeah, triple digit. So between now and October-ish, it's going to be interesting. Be a lot of sweaty videos. That's all I can say.
Yep. You been doing any shooting?
Oh man, I shoot almost every day. Yeah. Yep, that's the beauty of having land and stuff, So
Yep.
blessed like that. So not really anything new. I should have some stuff coming in the next week or two. But yeah, I get out and pull triggers on something almost every day. It may be a pellet gun or a BB gun sometimes, but almost every day. So there you go. George.
yes, the old man has making his appearance. He turns 8 years old on Thursday.
That ain't old.
Yeah, that cat's had one of the easiest lives ever.
That's a fact.
Talk about catered to.
Little bit.
So what we got on the agenda, fellas?
Well, is anybody on the panel got a one of these BX triggers for the 1022 or the Chargers or any of that? Anybody on the panel?
I've shot a ton of them. And when I was doing the Tactical Innovations Elite 22 receiver build, the custom 1022, I guess you could call it, that I've got, it was an option I weighed along with several other brands, and I can't think of them now. And I ended up honestly spending less money and just going with the Volquartsen kit, and then there was a company, a seller on eBay that was probably just a guy with a mill and a lathe that was machining some parts, to be quite honest with you, that was selling some washers, some like spacers and stuff. And I went that route because it was like a third of the cost. And as far as the creep and the brake and everything, I mean, it ended up, I spent about a third of the money, and it was about the same as that. Now it's a lot more work, you know what I mean? Because I had to take the trigger pack out, completely disassemble it, and install all the little parts. And that there's just, of course, that's a drop in. So a lot easier.
Yeah, this is straight drop in from what I understand. I mean, I might be doing it below the view of the camera. But it does have a little graph here. And if I can get it to even show up or focus, of what the standard 1022 trigger shows and what the BX is showing there on how it actually functions. So, I mean, a significant difference, and I don't necessarily find anything bad about the standard 1022 trigger, but for just a little bit of money to make that much of a difference, why not? Why not?
Yeah, on a 22 rifle, there's not. I'm gonna show my bias here, right? So my Browning Buckmark carbine, best stock 1022 trigger. I mean, 22 rifle trigger there is. But let's be honest, that's a Browning Buckmark pistol with a stock and a longer barrel, right? It's kind of niche. It's kind of uncommon. It's certainly not mainstream like a 1022. But if you talk about the Marlin 60, the Savage, was it the 64 series on the Savage, the Marlin 795s, all of that stuff, all of them, the triggers, they're not horrible. They're right there in the same. Talking about the semi-auto versions anyway. Now the Bolt 22s, like the little Ruger American Rimfire, the Savage Mark series, some of those have better triggers in them, the bolt actions. But yeah, for semi-auto, they're not horrible. But you'll definitely notice a difference, especially if you get into Steel Challenge. A lot of people in Steel Challenge run those because it is a drop in and it does speed things up. The reset, it takes away some of that creep. You got a much crisper reset with that trigger, which is nice if you're speed shooting. You can ride that reset. So, what did can I ask what you gave for it?
I actually picked that one up for 65 delivered.
Oh, that's a good price. Okay. Yeah. See, back when I did that pin and build I was doing, they were like running around $100 for a BX back then.
And still, unless you really looked around like I did, that's what they're still going for.
Yeah.
But it was nothing like the Timmy trigger, or you can get really ridiculous.
Yeah, you pay more for a trigger than you do for the rifle. You know what I mean?
A lot of times, yeah. I mean, you can do little trigger jobs too yourself. Polish them up and stuff, and make them a little bit better. Save you money.
That's hard to do with the way that it's hard to explain if you've never taken a trigger pack apart out of a 1022. it's hard to explain because all that's visual the way it works. But yeah, I mean, you can polish up your hammer sear, some surfaces and stuff like that. But just the way that trigger pack is all put together, the stock one, and again, it's not like it's a horrible trigger, but that's why I'm saying I bought some little individual components that was a little cheaper, replaced those, and kind of got rid of the trouble spots. But like I guess it's the sear spring maybe, and then the return spring I replaced, and then polish everything up, of course, and then I replaced the hammer and the trigger, and then like there was some little washers. So one of the big things in there is with some of the cross pins that kind of holds all those pieces in, there's slop in there in a stock trigger pack, and you lose. You can probably visualize what I'm saying. Hopefully you can, because it's hard to explain. But if you've got any kind of slop in those pins, you know what I mean. That's gonna the energy of you pulling the trigger. You know what I mean. It's kind of like the difference between using a curved trigger and a flat trigger, right? Curved trigger is not as efficient of a use of the force on that trigger, right? Because a flat trigger is more straight back. Whereas a curved trigger, it's giving a little bit of that energy is going into the curved motion, right? The swinging or pendulum style motion. So kind of the same issue inside that trigger pack going on if you don't take some of the slop out of that. But like I said, with the BX, I mean, that's corrected. They've done that.
Ozzy out there ordered himself a Henry Classic 22 lever. Nice. That should be real nice.
Yeah, I have one of those. They are a fun rifle to just plink with at the range.
Yep. I do not like the Henry uses the buckhorn. Man, I can't get used to a buckhorn sight, man. Drives me up the wall.
Put a
Those
scope
Irish
on.
eyes.
Oh, that's
Scope on.
heresy, man. A scope on a
What's
lever
that?
gun? Oh, man.
Nope.
No way. No
They're
way.
a tool. Lever guns are a tool. I use them for deer.
You
That's
probably
where
put
that's-
one of those.
Uh,
You could
Go
probably
ahead.
put one of those peep sights on the back of it, Clover. It's got the
yeah,
rail.
no, I could. I could totally put an aperture of some kind, something like that. And I'd like the, what is the Skinner makes them?
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember the name of. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember what the company.
Yeah, I could totally do that. But you know what? I mean, it's good enough that if both of my little Henry 22s, if I'm plinking, and even, even a couple of other ones. But if I'm just plinking, I mean, it's plenty enough to ping steel and play around with. So I've never messed with it. The only optic I've got, and one of these days my eyes get worse. I mean, I may change my mind on it, but I just don't like the looks of a scope on a lever rifle. But I do have one. I've got a Western Field 30-30, an old school Western Field, which is Marlin, in case you don't know. But I bought it new in the box. And the guy had bought it and shot it very little. It wasn't new in the box, but light new in the box. Shot it very little, but even come with a receipt where he bought everything at Montgomery Ward. So it's got a Western Field scope on it, a Western Field sling, Western Field rings. it's all Western Field. So I bought it like that, and I left it that way because I bought it like that. But yeah, all my other lever rifles, I can't bring myself to put a scope on them.
Clover Tack, you're talking to the guy who grew up, whose godfather and his best friend had a machine shop, and they tapped muzzleloaders
Oh yeah.
and put scopes on them before scopes even were thought of being put on muzzleloaders.
Mm-hmm.
We're out there shooting golf balls and stuff at 200 yards with a muzzleloader.
Yeah.
So all these deer hunters just jumped all over that stuff, and now they're in line. But the Henrys, oh yeah, you put a nice scope on a Henry, they just even look more sexy.
I'm not opposed to it. Certainly not what I'm saying. You do you. That's my philosophy. There's just something about it. But I'm a traditionalist when it comes to like milsurp stuff too. Some people will take, their milsurp stuff and they'll do crazy things, and I'm like, leave it original. It's like,
like you're not gonna throw a scope on a 45 long Colt Henry,
right,
something like that. No, that's strictly cowboy.
right.
Yeah, but your 22 Magnum where you're out squirrel hunting or 45-70 for deer hunting.
Yeah.
Stuff
Yeah, I
like
could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Stuff that you were getting out there. Yeah, I could see that. But we don't get. You got to understand where I live with the any type of deer hunting. I mean, the woods are so thick here, right?
Oh, yeah.
That you mean you're not getting a long shot, and so as long as your vision is good enough. I know some people have a problem with open sights, and it's their vision, and I get it. Um, Distance, being able to see anything like that as far as a distance shot around here. My dad, almost year in and year out, he deer hunts with his 1100. I mean, there's no telling how many deer he's taken in his life with that 1100. There is no telling, and that's the one he grabs the vast majority of time. So that tells you what kind of distance. I mean, bow hunting distance around here. You just don't get long shots. Occasionally, you'll get an invite out to somebody's lease or something like that, and they'll put you on a stand and you're on a pipeline, or something like that, and you may be able to reach out to 500, 600, 700 yards, if you want to.
But you better be practicing for that shot, though.
Oh yeah, you've got to be practiced to do stuff like that. You've got to know, you've got to know the ammo you've got. You got to know your dope. You got to know your drops. You got to know where everything's at, and then you got to be comfortable with shooting that type of a distance as well. But I've done it. I mean, I've taken about six and some change. On a deer is my longest. But I've got buddies that, matter of fact, I load up. One of them is shooting a Savage Model 10, and the other one he shoots in 308, and the other one is a 308 Remington, that VTR, I think, the one that's the weird like triangle barrel Remington that they made. And that guy with the custom loads I worked up for him, he's taken them out past 700 and maybe even 800 and some change on the pipelines before, which is pretty crazy. That's a long shot around here. That's a super long shot, and on a whitetail, it's a long shot anyway.
Yeah, whitetail usually from underneath your feet at the bottom of the tree.
Right. Yeah, shoot him in the top of the head. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the woods, maybe 50 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say around here, well under 100. I mean, if you get out 75, typically, you're doing good.
I mean, especially if you're deer hunting, it's good to have that scope on there just because you can, easier to tell the size of the deer.
Well, this is true. I mean, a lot of people don't, they don't think about carrying binos or, anything like that. And, you do have to be careful, cutting down on something and, the rack be narrow or some crazy weird something, that doesn't fall within regulations. It would suck to get a bunch of fines and risk your future hunting licenses and everything else over bad judgment. That's one thing that always worries me with taking people dove hunting is like, you go out there dove hunting and it's like, what other bird are these idiots going to shoot? It's like you need to know what a dove looks like to be able to shoot a dove, right?
Show them a picture of a bald eagle.
Just yeah, because some of them will. They'll just shoot, martins or starlings or whatever, and they'll cut down on whatever flies over. They're like, hey, whoa, that's not a dove,
It's
man.
got feathers. Come on.
Right? It's got wings.
Right?
They're all the same thing, right?
It's got, yeah.
I mean, I get where you're coming from as well, Clover, aesthetically and all that. I'm a big fan of iron sights, but I see the need for scopes on there.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, and there's certain things, even me, I talk about keeping mill serps, right? I've got an infield, number one Mark III that is, or is it number one Mark III that was a barreled action that a friend of mine found in a farmhouse that he tore down. It was in the wall of a farmhouse. And he gave it to me, and it was just a barreled action. You know what I mean? And I already had several infields at that time. And it sat here forever. Like, what am I going to do with a barreled action? And it made no sense to try to put it back, restore it. Right? It just made no sense. It just being a barreled action. And so I picked up a synthetic stock, fairly reasonable, and did some Cerakote work. And, it's mounted found a decent scope mount for it, put a little scope on it. And I mean, it's a nice little 303 hunting rifle now. And you put up pictures of it, or anybody sees it, and the first thing they do is almost just curse you for, oh man, why did you screw up a 303? And I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not. I didn't take a perfectly fine rifle and turn it into this, this atrocity here. It's like it was a barreled action. It's like this was the cheapest, easiest way to get an old girl back out shooting again. You know what I mean? Because I'd much rather it be a sporter, a Bubba sporter and out shooting than just sit in a corner somewhere and never get used again.
So we have a question out there. Pink Shears is asking recommendation on a scope for a 6.5 Creedmoor going past 600 yards.
Well, I would look at either between Vortex or Leopold, and you can go to a good gun shop, gun dealer. They'll have the faux guns you can put the scope on, and they should have a window where you can just be right out there, look out the window. The place out where I go, you can see out to 800 yards, so you can play around with the scopes a little bit before you buy it. But you're also going to want to make sure you get one where you can do your adjust your right and left windage. A lot of scopes won't. You're going to be spending some good money, probably just as much for the scope as you do the rifle, if you're looking at shooting out past 600, anywhere from 1,200 to over 2,000.
Oh yeah, easily. As far as power and stuff, probably a 6 to 24, something like that, or 5 to 25.
Yeah, I run some really cheap optics. I am in no way an optics snob. And I've been lucky. I haven't had a whole lot of problems. I would say that more importantly than the brand, a lot of people look at the brand, right? They throw out brand names. More importantly with the brand is paying attention to the model, I think, because a lot of brands, they have their tiers, right? They have their low end, their mid, their high end. And so it's like to say something like Leupold, for example, well, you could get a cheaper, quote unquote, cheaper brand in a higher model that sometimes will outperform for less money than the lower tier Leupold that would outperform that lower tier Leupold. So there is some crossover there. A lot of times that you've got to look for. But if you're one of the people that's of the mind of buy once, cry once, and that kind of thing bothers you for sure. Yeah. I don't. Leupold's awesome. Vortex, I got no problem with either one of them for sure. But there's a lot of great optics companies that's come into the market over the last several years. Monstrum and Athlon come to mind as a couple.
Yeah, I have a video from Great American Outdoor Show on my channel from Osprey Global. They had a decent long range scope at their stand there at the Great American Outdoor Show. And if you go to a gun show, it's cheaper to buy from a gun show where they're at one of the gun shows. They go to just about every major gun show in the country than it is to buy off their website. So if you're looking for a starter scope, that's just going to be something to make sure you like the sport and you don't want to go spending a whole bunch of money right away, that could be another option for you as well.
Yeah, she's saying she wants to get a starter and a good one. So, I mean, if you're going to drop some change, Sharenda, I'd be looking at Zeiss or something along those lines.
And customer service. If you got to send that scope back, that is the main one. That's why I put Leopolds on my stuff. I've broke them. My wife's broken them, and we just boom, send it in, new scope back.
Well, what I've seen a lot of people do, right? And so because you never know the budget, the monetary constraints and stuff somebody's dealing with. I'm buying a 6.5 Creed rifle. And then especially now buying ammo for it, I mean, that may exhaust the vast majority of somebody's funds, right? So, I would say look into there's nothing wrong. And you could probably find one that could get you out as far as 600 yards, pretty decent. And look at something like a Bushnell Simmons, a Burris, right? Those are probably going to be a little bit on that lower end. And that gets you something on the rifle, right? Spend some money on your mounting apparatus, on your rings. Make sure you got good rings and all that. That does make a difference. But get into something that I would say is decent, right? To get you out and get trigger time on that rifle if you've got budget constraints. And then stick back some money, right? And then once you replace that optic, this is what I do. I very rarely do I get rid of an optic unless I get rid of it with a rifle or something. You yank that off, you put something better on it, put that back in the box or whatever, and put it aside and put it in the cabinet. And then next time you come across a deal on a rifle or something like that, you've got an optic there you can throw on it, right, to get you by until you get the money saved up to put the one you really want on it. But I know how it feels, man, to sit there and several other folks that have gotten rifles before, and they're like, yeah, now I'm saving up to buy a scope, and I'm like, good Lord, here, take this home, put it on there, and shoot the thing.
I just want to know why all my most expensive scopes are on my wife's rifles.
Because she takes them when
That's
when
almost
when you're out with them.
self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's hard. His and hers gun safes.
I'll
Okay.
tell you, as far as a brand that gets little attention, but I found is a phenomenal brand, is SWFA. Not a lot of people know about them. Not a lot of people have a lot of experience with them. And the stuff from SWFA, I run a straight 20 power on my 50 BMG, an SWFA Super Sniper in a straight 20 power. That was $400, I think, or something. And that thing has been all kinds of solid. And for the price range, you can get into some pretty decent stuff. And the cool thing about SWFA, by the way, you were talking, it was Daniel that wasn't talking about the customer service aspect. SWFA is a repair center for a wide variety of major brands, and they carry a lot of other brands too. So they could actually be a resource you could potentially call up and walk you through. I know that's what I did when I come across the 50. Believe it or not, when I got my 50, it had a little center point on it from Walmart. That, believe it or not, had been through a couple of boxes of ammo, and I actually put a couple of boxes of ammo through it before I took it off, and it held up, believe it or not. But I called around. I was looking into stuff that was gonna hold up. Right. I didn't really care about the customer service as much as I wanted something that was proven to hold up. And I contacted them several times and had some conversations with some of their techs in the back and other things. And they were, yeah, I mean, they were great in turning me on to that straight 20 power, and it's been wonderful. And I've got a couple of others, but you said you don't have good experience, Alan, with SWFA?
I've got none.
Really? Like no experience or no good experience?
No. I've got no experience with SWFA.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was going to say, you pretty much shut CloverTac down on that with that post. Who was like, what?
Well, I was
No,
people do. I mean, there are people that Daniel brought up loophole. There's people out there that cuss loopholes for whatever reason. I mean, your experience is your experience. If you have a bad experience with it,
I think he's just messing with you. That's all. I wrote that down like Sharenda. She's Googling it, and I just got my notes. I take notes during these things for stuff to look up.
Yeah.
After the chat.
They do. They're in Red Oak, Texas, over around Manfield, all that kind of south of Fort Worth, DFW area. over there. And if you're ever around that, whenever they do their garage sale type thing, sometimes, and they do have a retail store there as well. That's their service center, their retail store. But like once a year, they'll do like a garage sale type thing. And oh my gosh, you can get some really good deals at that for sure. Um, yeah, we used to stop by there pretty regular. We had a place we would go shoot some 3D archery competitions, and we had to drive right back by there every single time. And every time we would stop in, at one time they even were selling some flamethrowers in there. And we stopped by and they had just gotten in some flamethrowers, which was pretty cool. But yeah, they carry way more than just optics, but that's how they started. But because they service all the brands, that's the other great thing about them, is because they service all the other brands and because they sell all the other brands, they're pretty straight shooting with you. You know what I mean? They don't say, "Oh, ours, the SWFA is the best," necessarily, or whatever. They'll turn you on to the right brand because they sell them all. It doesn't make them any difference.
You can go real cheap, pick you up a BSA. That's the Sweet 22 for the BSA there.
Man, the Sweet 22 and the Sweet 17 are not bad scopes.
I'm actually kind of surprised by it. It's actually
on the 22. I don't know about on anything else. Yeah.
On anything. Yeah, I don't know about anything else. But the Sweet 22, I've been kind of impressed with it, actually. But yeah, it was what was available at my FFL, as they were, as the ATF decided to shut them down. I was like, here, let me clear a little bit of your inventory for you.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I've been around firearms and everything long enough that, I remember old Weber scopes from back in the day, old Tascos, the Simmons, Bushnell was high end once upon a time, and I can remember that stuff. And I mean, those were good scopes that people hunted with for decades on their rifles and stuff. You know what I mean? And they weren't exorbitantly expensive like some of the optics you see nowadays. So that's what I think makes me not be an optics snob. It's not like I'm not, oh, you've got to have a $1,500 optic or $2,000 optic. I'm like, I've seen people take deer at 400, 500, 600 yards with, $100 bought it at the local, sporting goods store or whatever, Simmons or something like that. But you've got to take into account the other thing too, I guess, if you do have a high dollar name brand optic, is if you ever need to flip that, right? If you ever need to flip that rifle or that combo, you're definitely going to hold value. If you pick up a, and I'm not going to talk trash because I know people that hunt with some Barska and some Sightmark stuff. Matter of fact, I've got a Sightmark benchmark, which again is their high end, on my Savage Model 10, and it has been absolutely freaking phenomenal. Of course, it shoots from a bench and it's baby. But I know people that have shot those for years and years hunting, and we're talking $100 to $150 scopes, from Barska and Sightmark, which get a pretty bad rap most of the time. But if you do that, you're giving that scope away. You're going to lose that 100, 125, 150 bucks if you go to sell that rifle, because you're going to have to sell it as a package, and you're going to have to give the scope away to sell it. If you've got a high end, Leupold Vortex, Zeiss, you know what I mean? Well, you can yank it off, or it will actually, if you've got a guy that appreciates that scope and is going to use that scope, right? It can help you sell it. Right. You can
a lot of times you go to an actual store, they're not going to buy the scope, but if you use private sales, it'll help.
Yeah, but an individual, and it's a limited market, right? You're right. I mean, the play would definitely be, if you had a high end, my play would be to yank it off and then sell them individual. That way you don't have to worry about it, right? You sell the scope to somebody looking for the scope, you sell the rifle to somebody looking for the rifle, and it's done. But occasionally you'll get that opportunity I've seen it where it's like, okay, the guy's not. He just is looking for a decent rifle in such and such caliber, and then he recognizes that loophole scope is a rocking awesome scope, and then you can flip it right there on the spot, and it ain't a big
Here's
deal.
one thing that will definitely turn somebody into a scope snob, guaranteed. But if you're a hunter, that last 20 minutes of legal hunting light, and it's an overcast day, and that last couple of minutes, here you look out there, and there he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Godzilla of the woods, big old grandpa. You pull that gun up there, and you can't find him. You look at the side, there he is, but you go back there, and it's just the scope is too dark. It won't gather any light.
It won't get enough light. Yeah.
You will wrap that gun and scope around a tree. I mean, I didn't wrap it around a tree, but I've had it happen to me, and that was it.
I don't have a problem even on some of the cheaper stuff that I've got. And again, we're talking cheaper compared to $1,000, $1,200, $1,500.
There's $200 scopes that'll gather good light.
Yeah, you get up if you got good glass. I mean, you need good glass, and then you need a big enough objective. I mean, the bigger it is on the end, the more light it's gonna gather. So, and then tube. The tube size helps too. A lot of people say that they can't tell the difference between a 1 inch, a 30, and a 34 millimeter tube. I can tell the difference.
In the middle of the day, you're not going to tell the difference.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But I can put them in, break them out in certain situations that I can absolutely tell a difference. So,
unlike what Daniel was talking about earlier, you go to the store, have them go to the door up to the window. I used to tell people come back first thing in the morning, or come back late and right at the end of the evening when the sun's about to go down.
Yeah,
so you can see better. Because I take people up front all the time, take them outside and let them see through it properly so they can get a better idea.
And pro tip, if you go in and you're looking at thermal, don't try to look through a window because that's not going to work.
Yeah, and Redfield used to be done by Loophole as well, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, Redfield is under Sight Mark now, or under Cell Mark, which is Sight Mark.
Yeah, that's what I used to have on my old 45 caliber Hawken. We tapped it, and we had a Redfield scope on it back then. The first deer I ever shot was at 300 yards, and that was a Hawken muzzleloader.
Another option for people out there looking to buy, if you have a swap meet or flea market in your area. My grandfather and uncle swore by going to flea markets and swap meets to buy rifle scopes used. Very rarely would they buy one new in a gun store. If they could find it at a flea market, that's where they were buying it.
Has anybody ever had any experience, and this is old school, maybe dating myself here, but with the old TV screen style scopes? You probably know what I'm talking about, where it's not a circle. It's flat on the top and flat at the bottom. It looks like an old tube style TV.
Yep.
I've got a couple of those, and I think one of them is a Redfield, and they're still rocking scopes, man. I think the biggest one or whatever is like a 3-9 by 40 or something. So they're not huge scopes. The other one may be a straight 4-power, but man, they're still rocking scopes. But they're odd, man. You look through it, and it's got the top and bottom cut off.
They were good enough for the Marine Corps snipers back in Vietnam. They were good enough for me.
Yeah, they had the same.
Some of your older scopes are still really good today. Your old Redfields, your old Zeiss, all of that. They're still good today.
If they've been taken care of, yeah. That's the only thing. I mean, if they've been left out in a barn, or something like that, maybe not so much. But if they've been kept indoors and climate controlled and stuff, yeah, definitely. The one of the things that makes, of quote unquote cheap optics nowadays so horrible is not. It's not even really the glass. People will talk about the glass a lot of times, and even cheap scopes nowadays use good glass. The problem is the repeatability on the adjustments. They build, cheap springs and cheap dials and cheap gears, right? And that stuff will strip a tooth, or it'll do, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Who owns Redfield now? It sounds like somebody out there needs to send in a scope for a repair.
Heck, I'm muted instead of unmuted. Cellmark is who carries the Redfields now, and Cellmark is pretty good about their. I don't know if they retroactively cover Redfield stuff, but they're pretty good about their current line of stuff. I know that.
If they don't, they'll have to let you know who is, because the warranty on those old Redfields was like a forever.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
when they buy the company,
it may very well be SWFA, because, like I was saying, they're a pretty major player in the game when it comes to repair. Being a repair center. Cellmark is spelled with an S, like you sell something. Cellmark.
Yeah, I have no experience with their warranty or anything like that, or how they are as far as customer service.
only thing I've ever done, I'm super lucky when it comes to everything, right? It's like any problems I've ever had with any guns or anything, I've never had anything that needed to go back. Well, short of thermal, that's a whole night vision and thermal. That's a whole different discussion, though. But with firearms, typically it's some measly little problem. I had somebody in a comment the other day complaining. I forgot what company or video or whatever it was, but they were literally dogging on a company because the company did not carry that line anymore, and so they could not get them a spring, a $9 spring. And I'm like, okay, I just Googled, and there's like 100 places you can order that spring for $9. It's like, why are you throwing a fit? Like, you're causing yourself more grief than it's worth. Just it's a freaking spring. Things happen. Drop $9, replace the spring, get another 10 years out of the thing or whatever. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Now, you get some people out there that just, their expectations are just stupid. But yeah, myself, I've never been, anytime I've ever had an issue, it's been something like that. It's been some stupid little $5 part or something. And rather than boxing it up, sending it back, doing this, it's like, dude, I just get online, order the part, fix it, and I'm good. Things happen. Like, and we do that with everything else. I mean, how often do you got a used car, it doesn't have factory warranty, right? You don't call up, Chevrolet or whoever and throw a fit. You go to the parts store and buy whatever little relay or fuse or thing it is and plug it in and go, right? I just don't understand people's mentality sometimes. I think there's just some people that like to gripe and complain. Honestly,
Well, it's just it's the thing of today. It's what they want. They want you to be lazy and not want to do anything. They want you relying on government help, relying on everything else. They don't want you being independent.
Yeah.
I like Ruger's comment. Don't get me on Ruger's. I've only had bad luck with Ruger's myself. Whether it be the Blackhawk, the Super Blackhawk, or the 1022.
That wasn't a problem. I swapped that out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm just talking my personal experience.
That was here on the show while I'm smoking.
Jamie, hi.
Jamie, what's going on, man?
Been out to eat with the wife. First time we've been out in eons. Went to Ichabod Japanese steakhouse for Father's Day supper. Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Awesome. You get sushi?
I don't eat bait, brother.
You don't eat that Chinese food.
I hear you. All right, well, gonna have to cook it, man.
Oh, come on.
My wife goes, "It is cooked, because some of it is," and I'm like, "You got to cook it a lot more than that. You need to deep fry it or something. Batter it, deep fry it, and I'll eat it." How's that sound?
Batter and
don't-
deep fry from an Irishman.
If it don't clog the arteries, it ain't seafood. It's not proper.
Man, I could live off sushi if I could afford it.
Oh man, stop it!
Fish
I never
and
took
chips,
you
man.
for a sushi boy.
Oh, dude, I love sushi.
Oh,
Fish and chips. Deep fry the fish and the potatoes. Come on, do it right.
Scotsman's gonna put on his skinny jeans and put his hair up in a man bun next.
Well, he already owns a bunch of CZs, don't he? What I'm wondering is, did did owning the CZs cause you to like sushi, or did sushi cause you to like CZs? That's what I want to know.
Don't tell me. Clover Tack is a Glock tard.
I'm a not anything tard, man. To be honest with you, I don't care one bit. I own them all. I shoot them all. It's like I don't care. I just like to poke fun. That's all.
I've never understood how people do not like sushi. Never understood that.
I don't
My daughter-
understand.
Go ahead, Jamie.
I don't understand how people don't like grits, but that's just me.
Ew, can't stand grits.
Mario's is still in here. Mario has still not made any comments or know that I have a life-size Mario Mosin steel, and it's gray because brown toggarts matter. And he has never made a comment on it.
So he loves grits but hates sushi. Jeez.
Ozzy agrees with me.
Grits is the sushi of the South.
I think Clovertack would agree. In the South, you could batter and deep fry horse manure, and somebody around here would eat it.
Oh man, you go to the county fair and there's all kind of deep fried. I mean, they do a deep fried stick of butter. Like,
Oh yeah, the Allegheny County Fair up in Maryland every year when they have it, there is a food truck there. They will deep fry anything if you bring it to them. They don't care what it is. You bring it, they'll deep fry it.
yeah, if you're ever in doubt about something, just deep fry it. It's all good.
All right. So have you ever had? I don't even know if you get them out here or not. Have you ever had a deep fried Mars bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Deep fried Oreos and deep fried Snickers. That's bad enough.
Yeah, the deep fried Twinkies are good.
Deep fried pickles.
I don't do pickles, so. But
Yeah.
my wife just got fried pickles today, as a matter of fact, when we went to eat.
And deep fried dill pickles are the shiznit.
We got two things you can do: deep fry it or cover it in gravy. One of the two.
Mm-hmm. You know what
Oh.
else? You know what else is good, but it's hard to do is deep fried cheesecake. It's one of those ones. It's like the fried ice cream where you got to flash fry it real fast, so it doesn't all melt and come all nasty.
Yeah, they freeze the crap out of that too. They put that like in a
Mhm.
blast freezer what it comes out of, so it's
Okay.
super
That's-
freaking cold before they ever drop it.
What's the ultimate steak? Chicken fried steak when you just smother it with gravy?
You know,
Ah.
unless Rob D's making it, because then he cannot cook a chicken fried
So,
steak.
so here's the question: you get a chicken fried steak. Do you get white gravy or brown gravy?
Gray gravy.
He mixes
Great.
the two together.
Gray
It's more spicy.
gravy.
We're by gravy around here.
good white gravy is spicy because you dump the pepper off in that stuff.
White black pepper gravy. That's the ticket.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I say. Some people do brown gravy on there. I'm like, yeah, brown gravy is for like a hamburger steak or something like that. Brown gravy
That's
ain't
made
for
out
it.
of ham, isn't the ham grease?
Yeah, it's the brown gravy.
No.
Brown gravy's like
Yeah.
meat
That's
dripping and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, that's from ham.
yep.
Now, you're thinking about red eye gravy, Daniel. That's from country
Yep.
style ham.
You
And
never know what you're gonna get, Mario. We went from talking long range scopes to talking food.
I know I showed up.
It don't take much to get on food, man. Everybody
Yeah.
likes to eat.
And
We
Mario
got- we
still
got-
hasn't answered me yet about him not looking at checking out that video where I have the life size Mario steel target out there.
We had a hell of a food chat on Gary's show earlier today. Talking about everything from mac and cheese to chicken, which I just had a decent helping of. Anybody's wondering what that was? It was on my plate. It was boneless buffalo chicken on rice with ranch dressing on top. And it wasn't frozen chicken either. It was well, yeah, my wife hand breaded it and fried it and then put it in the buffalo sauce. She asked me what I wanted done with the chicken for tonight, so I told her, "Here, do the buffalo with it."
That one
So,
makes me hungry, too.
I was on a chat yesterday talking about 1911s, and 3 or 4 guys in the side chat said, you can't have an opinion on 1911s. You're a revolver lever action guy. And I'm like, they've been making them for 111 years.
Mm.
I think I qualify. I mean,
The 1911 is that you can shoot that in cowboy action. That's the one semi-automatic you can shoot because that was used in the Mexican War and all that stuff.
Is
So
that
if
true, Jamie?
Somebody showed up with a C-93, they wouldn't let him shoot it?
What'd you say, Alan?
Is that true? Were they using that in the Mexican American Wars?
I missed that one.
Well, probably used it when they were looking for Pancho Villa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why people need to be so traditionalist when it comes to a 1911. Like 1911 can only be in 45. That's one thing that gets me. The people that'll ridicule somebody else for having a 1911 that's in any other caliber.
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing with that is we're not here to ridicule people. We're here to help and encourage people, and that's we should all be supporting each other and helping each other learn and grow better. We don't get anywhere as a shooting community if we give people shit for not being one caliber.
I'm just saying they're wrong. It should be 10 millimeter.
There's a lot of people that'll say it should be 9mm.
I think it should be 11 millimeter.
10 millimeters, the master race. So.
Just go up to 12 millimeter, and then you can have a 50 cal 1911. '50 Action Express.
9mm only came. 9mm was only designed in 45 because the concept of the 10mm was not around yet. That's all I'm saying. John Mosen Browning, there's no way he would not have went 10mm if that had been around. I'm convinced of that.
Yep, 10mm is a good ROM.
Thanks, Tim S. But they were rifles cartridges shooting 40 calibers way back in the 1830s, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
So, the 10mm was not thought of in America at that time as a 10mm. It would have been thought of as a 40 caliber, 41 caliber, something like that. Because back then, the metric system was,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, don't forget Luger tried convincing the United States to go with 9mm. That's the whole reason why 9mm even came up with was the trial for the Luger pistol, because they had all signed on the 7.5mm Luger round, and when Luger tried getting the British and the Americans to adopt, excuse me, the Luger, they said no, the round wasn't powerful enough, so we went back to the drawing board, and that's when we came up with the 9mm round.
Walter out there talking about the 1911 and 38 Super. Yeah, I mean, if I had the stuff to reload and had plenty of things, because ammo's non-existent. Man, a 38 Super is just sweet shooting in a 1911.
Oh yeah, that's a killer ROM.
Well, anyway, I gotta cut it short, guys. I gotta head out, so I will catch y'all later.
Later, Rich.
All right, appreciate you, man. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks for the invite again, and
Yep, absolutely.
have a good one.
And we're about halfway through, Alan. You want to go through side chat?
I don't see why not, man. It is rolling. It's rolling over there. The Annalie Brown, Big Al out there, G23. He say Kingpin out there, Michael Hurtnick, the New York Outcast, Pat in a Bunker, Pink Shear's still out there, Thor's Axe, Tim S, Walter Davis. Yeah, it is rolling out there. I was kind of curious what people's thoughts were on the Army owned private contractor ran military facility that supplies about 30% of the 5.56 to the market. If they're being told they are no longer going to be able to supply the market, how much effect is this really going to have?
Are you talking the Lake City stuff?
Yes, sir. Lake City, the Lake City plant is being told specifically that they can no longer sell their wind shares to the private market, which is
I've
the
heard
point.
both ways. One is like
Which is-
it's gone through. Other people are saying no, that's just misinformation going out. So
it
I
don't
don't know.
matter because in about 2 years and 2 months, you're not going to have to worry about his crazy stuff anymore anyway.
Maybe even less than that, because it's going to be a pretty major stalwart in a few months. I think be gridlocked like you've never seen before.
Just thinking the next few months are just going to try to pass and push through everything they can.
They'll try. I don't think they have enough margin in the and especially as partisan as it's become. I don't think they have enough margin in the Senate. And I'll tell you what's crazy is they've gotten so ridiculous. How crazy is it that you get so ridiculous with pushing your stuff that one of your darlings comes out against you, like AOC coming out against the whole thing with
For this whole
it's like how crazy you got to get.
This common sense gun control. You've got a lot of rhinos that have pushed their numbers over 60, so they can't get the whole filibuster thing. They can put it to a vote and just pass that on through.
They could, but now they've got Democrats bailing, which is weird.
Well, it's all about the votes. They know, it's that time of the year, so they're all trying to stay in office. So they're going to do whatever they got to do to stay there. Battle Bean.
Hey,
Bring it on, man. I'm pissed at you.
why?
I bought that life-size Mario and its gray steel target.
That
and you
is
never
beautiful. By the way, that's a slimming look of Mario. I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, did you notice how slim it was when I stood in front of it? It was all behind there.
Yes. Thank you for making me look less fluffy. I appreciate it.
Some people said they actually met you in the height on it because it's still a couple inches shorter than me. And
Oh,
said,
did you
"Yep,
put a
that's
booster there?
realistic." Huh?
Did you put a booster little spot in there?
No, I just
Make it
stood
a
right
look.
beside it. I didn't put you up on a booster to make you look taller.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah, I got two
hey.
of those things. One is in the garage, and it messed with me. I walked down there and bad light, and just seemed like a form there. My old dog, he goes down there, he stops, and he starts growling. And my wife come up and told me, "Say you got to move that thing." She didn't put it
And
exactly like that.
I'm there when I'm not even there, bro. That's how bad it is. Hi, Sharenda. Hi. By the way, your hair's been looking fabulous, girlfriend. Love it. It's
She does
fabulous.
some crazy hairstyles, man.
Sharenda's so funny in her Instagram picture. She takes pictures like, how do I look? Love that girl. But nobody's badass like Sharenda, man. She has fabulous hair and goes hunting. Who does that? I don't.
She has fabulous hair when she goes hunting.
I'm telling you, man, it's a fashion trend. We should all do that.
I can't do that.
We should get
Throw
a
a hat
mullet.
on and it looks like
Mm-hmm.
helmet hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be great. Anyways, what were you guys talking about?
We were
I'm
talking
sorry.
about you till you showed up.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, man. I was preoccupied for a little bit. I was dropping off Democrats in the pool. Anyways, I'm good now.
All right. Do we seriously conceive of a notion in our wildest dreams where Democrats are going to be reelected?
Hey, you know what? To be honest with you, nothing surprises me nowadays, man.
I never
Nothing.
thought that the
I mean, the way I look at it is because they have the advantage with the media and social media and all this other stuff. They can manipulate a lot more than we can. I mean, to be honest with you, I've been thinking about this whole thing, and I'm thinking the biggest problem that we have, especially conservatives, is that when we get to a certain comfort level, we don't go that extra mile to ensure that things stay that way. And now you have the things that are really going on right now. I mean, we can't even provide baby formula for our babies right now. How pathetic are we, man, as a society? Like, man, I got
Just
a
the
grandson
old-fashioned
coming up.
way.
and we do have a disadvantage in the mainstream media. There's no debating that fact. But at the same time, when people can't put diapers on their babies and they can't feed them their formula and they're paying $5, $6, and $7 a gallon for
Mm-hmm.
gasoline, there goes your advantage with the mainstream media because people don't care what kind of bullcrap you're feeding them through their ears when they can't feed their families.
I honestly I hope that people really start opening up their eyes and they start really looking at things um maybe everything that's being put out by media it's not as real as it looks. I think people need to seriously challenge certain things that people say. I mean, some of the lies that are coming out of this administration is ridiculous, man. You got the press secretary saying, "Oh, we're in a better economy than we once were before." I'm like, where's she at? Where's she been at? Like, I don't understand where she's coming from with her analogy. Uh,
Tell
you
the
know,
lie enough times and the people will believe it.
It's a propaganda media campaign. and
You know.
yeah,
Hey,
liberal
you
run.
know what? To be honest with you guys, it's this is kind of like the same thing that I got a good friend of mine who's in Venezuela, and he was telling me like, man, this is the same crap that they pulled when Chavez was in office. Chavez was the guy that was before the current president Maduro, and he just kept kept playing this crap, but people kept buying it. You know, I just think people need to open up their freaking eyes, man. Things are not what they need to be. We are very very vulnerable right now, man. We really are, and that's what scares me. Because it just takes one country that really has nothing to lose, and those are the worst ones. It's just the ones that have nothing to lose, like North Korea. They got nothing to lose.
It'll be okay, Tim. Don't worry about it, man. It'll be fine. See, when I start getting wound up, when I get myself worked up, what I don't need to hear is somebody telling me, "You're worked up. Calm down. Calm down." No, that is the opposite that's going to happen. And that's what we're getting from the mainstream media and from our government right now. But yeah, you're right, Mario. There's no way I ever would have thought that we would have lost both Senate seats in Georgia.
Hey,
And
creative elections.
I think Ozzy is very right here. The media is starting to not cover the Dems as much. They're not having to. There's become by far less of a divide between the Dems and everybody else when it comes to government currently. There's far less of a divide.
I mean, the leader of the free world.
Everybody else ain't sticking up for the people. It doesn't matter anyway, because they're not standing up for the people that actually voted for what they were supposed to be doing.
So why are they putting this fence up around the Supreme Court, but yet not protecting the justices' homes?
Exactly. And why is it that it was Kavanaugh that was actually targeted? I wonder if they had the same type of a security for um, the other justices that are very liberal. I just that's just that, to be honest with you,
See?
that's downright scary, man. Uh,
So that's one of the things. So the problem I got, I just got into this on I think Instagram, is both sides, man. They talk out of the side of their mouth, they twist things, and it doesn't matter what you watch. It doesn't matter if you watch CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. It's twisted in some way. And what some people fail to realize, so they made it out like there's never been any attempt on a Supreme Court justice ever, right? And a lot of people, I think, would agree that the circumstances surrounding Scalia were pretty doggone fishy. But they make out like that's some new thing. It's like there's never been. It's like, okay, well, there's been all kinds of plans throughout history. We just don't see it in the media because it's not conducive to gin up a base or divide people or get people whipped into a frenzy, right? And then if you look at the security that Supreme Court justices have already, it's like, you know, what were the I mean, he could this crazy dude could have attempted whatever he wanted to attempt, and he could have been successful. Yeah, and that's why you have to take these threats and these different things, I mean, with the utmost seriousness. But there are things that we don't know. Um, we know the generalization that Supreme Court justices do have security detail and are protected, but we don't know the particulars of that, right? And we can't know the particulars of that. Let's be honest. They blasted that out there, right? It's kind of like when we get into the thing about talking about, well, hardening schools. Well, if every school blasted out and posted all of their security measures, how smart is that, right? So, on one hand, we can't know everything because
what
it's just
security
not
measures in
saying.
schools?
Right, right. Yeah.
Really, you're gonna tell
Well,
me we have?
there are schools. There are schools here in Texas that do have them. I mean, they're part of the Marshall Plan or the Guardian Plan, and they do have all types of measures according to those plans in place, right?
Yeah,
The schools around here, for example, have pretty good plans in place. Are they flawless? No. And I
no.
don't think no matter what you do, that's why we got to work
But
on
the
that
the
problem
biggest
from multiple angles. It's a society problem, right? It's a mental health problem, as well as in some districts, it's a security problem. But then again, in some districts, it's a security problem because in that district, it's also a money problem, right? They don't have the money to spend on certain measures or whatever it
Well,
might
one
be.
one
So
thing you
it's
gotta
complicated.
one thing you gotta bring into question too is they're allowing people to protest outside their homes, which is illegal. It is on the books.
Yes.
It is illegal,
Yes.
but they're allowing it to happen.
Yep. The DAs are not prosecuting. They're letting one side of society get away with breaking laws and dropping a hammer just with intimidation
Yep.
factors for people expressing their legal rights.
But you've seen a hammer drop with that in the recall election there from the DA in San Francisco. So, when the people in San Francisco recall a DA, it's like that's some writing on the wall because those people are going to recall a DA. It's like people in the other rest of the country.
because it's getting out of hand, dude, to the
Yeah,
point that
yeah,
I mean, people are like, shitting in people's yards, bro. That's
oh
how
yeah,
crazy it is in fucking San Francisco.
oh yeah.
That's
I know
why,
several people. I got
yeah.
friends that have moved out of there because
Mm.
they're like they won't do anything. They're like we literally have homeless people camping on our lawn
Mm-hmm.
and the city will do nothing about it. So it's
Yeah.
like we sold our house, took a loss, sold our house, and moved.
Yeah.
Why don't you
And
just get a big dog?
Right.
and the other aspect that you're talking about is the city of LA is actually um in this past midterm election they actually went against a lot of the normalcy. They actually got a Republican is kind of one of the leading candidates to become mayor of LA. So it's something I never thought I would see, but
That's
I just think people are just tired of it. People are just tired of
yeah.
it, and if for some reason somebody's telling you the same thing and they're not doing anything about it, you got to try something different. It's no different than that the recent congresswoman from South Texas that won won the election. She's a Republican, and this has been like a stronghold for Democrats for like 100 years.
Yeah, 150
So
years. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. So I mean, I'm just glad people are really standing up, and I think the best thing they can do that is with their vote. But I
And
still have my
locally
doubt.
with their vote, right? I mean, that's
Yes,
where people
yes,
really have to be. There's so many people that get disenfranchised with the whole, especially with Biden, Trump, and this whole thing of nefarious things going on and whatever even made it worse. Where they're like, oh, they ain't no sense in voting; they'll just do what they want. And you're like, you don't
yeah,
understand. So on a federal level, if we're talking about the presidential election and the electoral college and all this. Okay, you can make that argument. But I've taken breakdowns of people's individual districts, especially at the state level and in the city level. And I know some pretty major cities that the mayoral race, for example, it's just a few hundred votes was all that the difference was. And it's like, that's not a huge margin. It's like, and they don't announce that. They don't come out on the news and tell you that. You got to go look that up to know that. But it's like, if, if it was only within 300 votes and you're going, oh, it's worthless, we'll never win there, blah blah blah. Well, with a little bit more boots on the ground, with getting people motivated to go out and vote, at least vote locally. If you leave the presidential boxes unchecked, who cares? But go out and vote locally at least.
yeah,
And because that's protection. I mean, that's the reason our system of government is set up the way it is because the founders and framers understood that if you was going to have government, a government closest to the people is what worked best. That's why we've got municipalities. That's why we've got counties. That's why we've got state, and it trickles up. Is that we have those buffers that keep people from the top tiers, from the federal level or even the state level in some cases, right? From from overreaching. And so once you start changing things at the bottom level, you wake a lot of the people that's up high. You start waking them up. They're like, well, wait a minute, yeah, okay, this is one little mayoral seat or whatever in a town here, but or it's one little congressional seat, right, in one little district in South Texas. But oh, wait a minute, that's been a stronghold for how many decades, and it starts giving them pause. So it definitely makes a difference. I mean, I get the being disenfranchised, but vote down ballot. Get out there and at least cast your votes on the down ballot stuff, if nothing else.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think what really strikes me is that I just think it's such a. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm still concerned about the presidential election because it doesn't seem to me like the primary maybe wasn't such a big focus for certain groups and stuff like that. But I mean, it's obviously a big deal because it changes the power in Congress. But I'm still concerned about the mass fraud that could happen in another presidential election. I think that's something that needs to change.
Yeah. We've got who was it out there? I think it was Bassett was talking about Gingrich talking about potential seat flips. Yeah, I mean, put it in perspective. I mean, we've got the quote most popular president in American history, but think about this midterm under Obama, 63. This is after they forced the healthcare thing down our throats. 63 seats flipped. 63. So 70, 70 is realistic to me, and they only need like 12 or something. But so I think there's definitely going to be a flip. I think what could get interesting is there enough flip for a supermajority? That's when we start getting interesting, because assuming, which we can't, but assuming that we could trust the freaking Republicans, and they had a supermajority, then they could unravel everything the previous 2 years has done, because they would be able to override any veto on certain things. They would hold all the cards at that point. And I'm not real sure at that point, to be honest with you, if there was a supermajority that Biden wouldn't play ball, because Biden has typically not been as crazy left as what he has been, but he's being coddled by the extreme left. And I don't, I didn't, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't see that coming. I really figured he would be a more mainstream, not nearly as centrist as, say, a Bill Clinton, but I really figured he would be more center than what he has been.
I just honestly, I think he's senile and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just
he's not. I don't think I think you're right. He's not doing it right. He's the guy that is the figurehead and in power, but he's taking his cues from other people, and sadly, he's taking his cues from people I think that are politically further left than he actually is. And then because he's the one they're feeding him that, right, and then he's saying it. He's the one he's getting defensive about it. I mean, how many speeches has he gave where he's just screaming and yelling about stuff? It's like, when was the last time you seen a president that acted like that like screamed and yelled at people? It's like,
come on, man.
It's not even that. I'm talking about like cursing people out, and it's like, dude.
I got a question for Allen there. Seeing it's Father's Day. You got any dad jokes?
Oh God, here we go.
Come on, Allen. Let's hear your best dad joke.
How do you make a waterbed more springy? You add spring water.
Scotsman?
I got nothing.
Oh, come on.
I got nothing, man.
I've told you enough.
I don't do the whole dad joke thing.
Mario?
Actually, I don't know any dad jokes, bro.
Oh, you're gonna have one. Tell me. You better come up with one because you're gonna get one.
No, I don't. I
We
don't.
know that Jamie knows one.
Yeah,
Jamie got that grandbaby running around. He
yeah,
knows
but
some
yeah, but
jokes.
he's like, it's Sunday. I gotta be nice today.
Dad jokes are clean.
They don't have to be clean.
Believe me, all those yo mama jokes were not clean at all. That I was good at.
Okay, well, at least tell me this, Mario. Do you know how to please a woman in bed?
Ah,
Obviously not. You got to think about it. You let her sleep.
you let her sleep. Okay. Wow.
Jamie,
Oh my god,
what you
that's
got?
so good.
Come on, Jamie, do better than that.
Jamie don't want to do it, man. He does not want to go that side. He does not
Dad
want to go
jokes are
into the
clean.
dark side.
I can only think of one, and I've told y'all it already. So,
Remind us.
okay,
There's
what is that white part on the top of chicken poop?
Ah. Hmm. No, you got me on that one.
That's chicken poop too, Mario.
Clover Tack. What's your best dad joke? You
That's
had
a
enough time to
good
Google
one.
Um, what did the baby corn say to the mama corn? Where's
What's that?
popcorn? Where's popcorn?
it. Did you know since
What has
1912
ears and can't hear? Corn
Daniel.
on the cob.
Did you know that since 1912 all babies born in Mexico are U.S. citizens?
Yeah, that's sad but true, man.
They're they're New Mexicans.
Oh,
That's when New Mexico became a state, man.
it's true, bro.
That's a
Hey,
history.
hey, what do you call a pool full of Mexicans? Bean dip.
There you go.
Not best one of the night, Mario. Hey,
What did the traffic light say? Look away, I'm changing. Why did the
We got-
cookie go to a doctor? It felt crummy.
there's a fella in the side chat, maybe a chick, I don't know. It says my sore bicep. He's got a comment about Herschel Walker running in Georgia, and they are making him out to be an absolute idiot and a thief. I think we know Herschel Walker better than that. But thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, I don't know the whole thing with Herschel Walker, but he won the midterm election, right? So he's still running against the counterpart, correct?
He's was unopposed in the primary.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
the whole Democrat game plan is to do a smear campaign, and then after the election's over, that's when all the proof comes out that no, there wasn't a Russia collusion, and Hillary approved the whole campaign. Yeah, the damage gets done. They get their way. Who cares now? That was years ago. That's old news.
his sore bicep asked a joke too. And he ain't put the answer that I've seen yet. So, what kind of fish has two knees? Come on, man. We're waiting for the answer. A
Tunny
fish.
fish.
How many
We're
apples
easily
grow?
removed.
How many apples grow on a tree? All of them.
Why can you not trust an atom? Because they make up everything. It's hard to remember. It's like I've heard of.
How do you make a
zillion of
tissue
them.
dance?
Put a little boogie in it.
You put a little boogie in it.
Yeah.
Bald's got a good one too.
What do you call two Mexicans playing basketball? Juan on Juan.
Oh, I get it. I think that's what. Bald's got one out there. What kind of bees produce milk? Boobies.
What kind of milk do you get out of a cow with no legs? Dragon milk.
What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Ground beef, yeah.
I was going to say it don't matter because it ain't coming.
If April showers bring May flowers, then what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims.
Okay, open mic night is over. Okay, some of you guys are getting out there like,
What did the Mexican firefighter name his two kids? We're waiting.
One on one.
Jose Osby.
Jose Osby.
How's it going?
God. Yeah.
Gizzard Gary with a classic.
Bob. Gotta love Bob.
That's cruel.
See, this is one of those where everybody can get into it and have a good laugh.
Yeah.
European, I like that.
European.
I drove Scotsman a trip just about all the way from Georgia back to Ohio with dad jokes. Captive audience. It's great.
Didn't bother me none.
Yeah, you just turned your hearing aid off.
What else you gonna do when you're driving? You got to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
yeah, just don't be like Dumb and Dumber trying to say Mockingbird. That'd be scary.
Sing
Why
Mockingbird.
are ghosts the worst liars? You can see right through them.
God.
That's a good one.
Mario,
Yes.
when I lived in San Diego, when I was in San Diego, I had this roommate. He swore the apartment was haunted.
Yeah.
Well, I lived there 106 years and I'd never seen a ghost.
I'm telling you, man. See, you were there when they had the old USS Constitution there. It was dock right there in San Diego Harbor, man. That's right.
Hey, AR.
Sorry, Uncle John.
I think I got a headache. Hey,
Okay,
take
now
some,
you can turn it
take
back
some
to guns
goodies.
down.
Yeah.
Turn
talk
it back
about
to
guns.
guns down. 11 millimeter is the best caliber.
Sweet, totally. My God. 1-1, baby.
I don't believe you. You need to prove it.
Well, 18 millimeter is the best. You get 8 more.
Man, your jokes are so dry.
That's not a joke. 18
Somebody
millimeter.
put some water on it.
So, AR Gun 1776. I hope you had a great Father's Day, brother. I do.
Oh God, that joke went over Anna's head too.
106
Kind of like
years.
Alan asking me about the Mexican American War.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
There's the CB.
let's say B. Let's say B.
All right, I gotta jump. I got some things to do. It's been a pleasure, gentlemen. Y'all have fun.
Like,
All right, man.
Appreciate you, Matt. Good
Later.
seeing you.
Happy
Good to see
Father's
you,
Day,
man.
Much
everybody.
obliged,
Happy Father's Day, sir. Back to
Thank
you.
Enjoyed visiting with you.
That's right.
He's a pretty smart old feller, ain't he?
Well,
For an
yeah.
Irishman.
Yeah.
When it comes to politics and stuff like that.
You know, I mean, when you read books, it happens. You know, just saying.
What?
Reading? What's that?
It's reading, yes, man. You know,
That's
does
what
wonders for the brain.
my wife, the teacher, tells me all the time. Reading is fundamental, especially when I get something new and I'm trying to put it together and
Yeah.
it ain't fitting right.
Does she grammatically check your stuff all the time? I bet you that drives you insane, doesn't it?
She does not,
Oh, okay.
because unfortunately, when I write stuff, I turn into the grammar and spelling police myself.
Oh, look at you.
I have some pet peeves about writing, and I
Okay.
have some pet peeves about what I read. And some of the, I think the way we text and send emails and stuff like that has become uh, is part of the dumbing down of America. When we, if you guys really want to read some fascinating stuff, go back and read some of the letters that were written by Civil War soldiers and some of the correspondence back and forth between them and their wives and their mothers and their sisters and their dads and stuff like that. The way they could write back then is absolutely, I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, well, I blame the education system, bro. We don't have creative minds like we used to back then.
Well, you can blame the education system if you want, and I won't argue too much about that, but there's a lot more distractions now than there were back then. You got to remember, back then, the primary reader at schools was the Bible.
Okay.
you didn't have TV, and the entertainment was reading.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't have radio. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have YouTube.
Well, the problem is too. A lot of parents have just gotten lazy. They don't care. They don't. You know, they drop them off like it's a fucking daycare center.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because we've got radio, TV. We have to have a screen going 24/7. We got to be plugged in, and there's too many other distractions. Back then, when people really cared about their family, that was their main objection. That was their main occupation, was taking care of each other and taking care of their family.
Amen.
Yeah. Also, life was just more simple back then. It really was, man. You know, just there was less complicated stuff. You know, like I don't have a problem with technology as long as we don't get to a point where our society just becomes like cheap. That they don't want to read. They don't want to, you know, research stuff and you know open up their mind, be creative. You know, that's the only issue I have with technology. It makes you lazy.
Mario, just wait. Pretty soon they're going to be putting that computer chip link in, attaching it to your brain so you can access the web anywhere, anytime.
Man, you've been watching too much Back to the Future, bro. You need to quit that.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's fast.
I Robot, all that shit. You
Tech-
I
stop
wonder. I
watching
wonder
that,
what
man.
Verizon is going to
is
charge for that
geometric.
service.
Yeah.
Technology advances at a geometric rate. Look
You
how
know what
much
I
far we come in the last 20 years.
you know
We
what I
didn't have
do
internet until the 90s.
you know what I do worry about is our society kind of being like And I'm going back to the analogy of the movie The Terminator, where pretty much robots take over and try to kill us. That's I don't like having a lot of robots in charge of everything. That's just me.
Well, here's something that I've thought about for years and years and years. The family expenditure that technology has brought about is significant. You're paying for your cable TV service. You're paying for cell phones. You're paying for cell phone services. You're paying for separate internet. You're paying for there's all these bills that that we've put on top of ourselves in order to just be part of this whole thing.
You're being
Uh,
preconditioned.
that families in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they didn't have none of this shit. They weren't paying extra for all this shit. Families nowadays that are paying for all these different services and all these different technologies.
Well, I mean, look at what you got now. You got the whole metaverse bullshit they're pushing. They don't want you to live in the real world. They want you dumbed down. They want you fucking just, it's getting ridiculous.
You're being preconditioned. So when it comes, it'll seem normal. It won't be surprised. You'll say, "Oh, it's a good idea."
Well, they've been doing that for the last 50, 60 years, preconditioning people. You're seeing that more and more with today's generation. I mean, hell, Jamie, you're talking about correcting people's spelling and stuff. Dude, I do it at work all the time. People write shit on the board and there's letters missing. It's just fucking horrible.
A couple months ago, Target quit taking cash. You can only use a card. Okay, so they're moving us to a cashless society. I mean, think about it. Well, they got complete control of everything. And when I say about the chip, we've been chipping animals forever. So when it's like, okay, put the chip in, you got your medical record, you got what you do, what your income is. So you just wave your hand over the little reader in the cash register to pay for your food. How convenient is that? And now they're talking about how they can link brains and stuff. And you look at how fast this technology is changing when they can go ahead and put a chip in your head so you can access whatever information you want at a thought.
Right now, I've seen lots of videos here lately where people are going out and asking the younger generation questions and trying to find out if they know who people are and on these different events and so on and so on. And some of the answers you see are just, what the fuck?
Those are college students.
Ask them who their governor is, who are their senators, who is their representative, who's the vice president of the United States, who's the Speaker of the House. I can't even tell you who the Speaker of the House is right now.
Some weaselly looking guy. 1984 used to be fiction. Now it's reality.
Yeah.
I'd be fine going back to the old dial-up phones, man, where you gotta go around. Yep, right there. There you go. Battle Beam got it.
You know those phones still work on a landline.
Yep.
And it's they're counting the clicks. It's very much like a telegraph. So AT&T stands for American Telephone and Telegraph for a reason. Not anymore.
I remember when I used to have that long ass freaking cord in the kitchen. You wanted to talk, you go around and shit.
That
What an
27 foot long cord, but you always had to stretch it to like 35.
That's right. Just so to get enough of that. That's right.
Where your girlfriend or sister would always take the cord and try to get it long enough so she could close the closet door to talk to her boyfriend.
Yeah. Where's so and so? Oh, they're right there. Look, you can see. You can see because you see the cord going
Yep.
in there.
That handwritten mail is almost non-existent anymore.
If you really want to show somebody you care about them, handwrite them a thank you card and put it in the mail.
Sharenda, give me your address. I'm gonna send you a letter, and it's gonna open. It says, "Hi."
Uh-oh, Michael's getting depressed, folks. Let's cheer Michael up.
Oh,
Food.
Michael, it's okay.
Oh, I want some barbecue ribs
Ooh.
with some real good coleslaw.
Oh yeah. I want some motherland tacos, not that Taco Bell shit.
Oh, no shit. I haven't had real tacos and stuff like that since I left San Diego.
Oh man, see you missing out, bro.
Roberta's,
Bro,
Alberta's.
you mean to tell me they ain't nobody over there in Ohio that can cook some motherland tacos? You gonna tell me that? We're
Well,
everywhere,
yeah,
bro.
but they want to charge you. Oh, we got high class Mexican food here
Oh,
now
you got
because
bougie, huh?
we got because we yeah because we got Mexicans here now that know how to cook. But all these
Oh,
rednecks. Well, I said redneck. I'm sorry. I are one, so I can say it. But up here and stuff, they don't get really good Mexican food. So they get a
mm,
nice restaurant and stuff. They can charge top dollar.
really?
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm used to going through the Albertos and
Man,
getting
I can make
those.
some bank over there. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, we
Welcome to
need to get a,
Marios. How may I help
we
you?
need to get some more Filipinos and stuff around here because I haven't had good
Oh
lumpia
yeah,
for a long time.
yeah.
I gotta find one out here, but I haven't been able to find pupusa in a long time.
Oh, dude, man.
Is that like sushi?
No,
No,
man, that's Salvadorian food, fool.
it's El Salvadorian, man.
Yeah, man.
It's good
I
stuff.
just
Yeah.
figured Scotsman like that sushi. That just might be something like that.
Hey, Scotland, you ever make a run over here to Cali, man? I got you, bro.
Yep. I'll get back out there at some point. I still got a buddy out that way, and his mama cooks the most amazing food.
Yeah, well, I'll take you to a place that does real good pupusas. I don't make those, but carne asada and the chicken, I got you, bro.
All right, awesome.
Carne asada burrito with guacamole.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Uh,
Dude, what do you think I'm so fluffy, bro? I mean, I can cook. Hello.
is fluffy the new word for fat?
Yes, fat. It's fluffy. It sounds more nice, I guess. I don't know. Hey, bro, I'm on brown neck
Okay.
too. It's all good. Don't
In
worry about
the in the pre-chat, I was talking about how I've been on a diet for the past 3 weeks,
it. Well, we're not helping you.
and for some fucked up reason, y'all got to be talking about food half the damn chat.
You finally caught on.
Let's go back to the writing thing. One of my pet peeves is usage and grammar, and one in particular thing is there. There are
So
three
what about
there.
y'all?
Y'all is a contraction for you all.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Y,
I know
comma, ALL.
Right. But the proper speaking Southern people say you all.
Oh,
You all going to get your ass kicked. You keep talking like that. Bunch of
I
Yankees.
hear you.
Yep, Bernard, you're on it, man. We only got ourselves to blame.
So this is the thing. There could be a
Okay.
direction.
There.
Like Mario said a while ago. Over there in Ohio.
Over yonder?
Over yonder's good. If you don't know how to use there, then say over yonder.
Over yonder, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's there, a possessive, multiple, plural pronoun, possessive. THEIR. There. That's what I'm talking about, Tim. There, and they are is a contraction of they are there. THEY''RE. I don't know why that kills me so much, but it just gripes my but see it done wrong.
I know. Doesn't it just make you angry when somebody refers to somebody else in the wrong pronoun?
Oh my God, totally. My God, I totally get
Here
you.
to
My
hear
God.
first.
Well, words have meaning, and that's the perfect example of they're different words that have different meanings.
Yes, by the way,
Yeah.
there's no cheese in tacos. Just saying.
I mean, that seems to be the how you really would differentiate the pronoun is the example that Jamie just gave, those three theirs. And now Newspeak has changed it. Oh, back to 1984. I'm sorry, I changed the subject again.
Yeah, man. See, quit changing, man. You'll see now. Shit. What is wrong with you? Going back and forth.
And we're getting close to time, so we'll start going through the room. Battle Bean, what you got, bro?
Not much, man. Happy Father's Day to all the great fathers out there. You know, the ones that stood around and raised their kids and didn't let nobody else raise them. My salute to you. That's all I got.
Thanks, brother. Good having you. Jamie?
Thanks for having me, brother. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Uh, hope y'all had a great day. Hope you got a little bit pampered. Check us out Friday night on the Georgia Shooting Connection channel. Friday nights at 8:00. We do basically this, focused on reloading and guns and stuff like that. Try to leave politics out. That's hard to say these days. Thanks for having me, brother. Enjoy spending time with you guys. Alan, good luck on your diet, brother.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good deal. Always good having you, brother. Daniel, it's good to see you, man. What's been going
Yeah,
on?
a lot been going on here. Thanks for having me on. Jamie, Mario, folks in the chat, even you, Alan. Nice seeing you again. I think though, after this chat's over, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there and get this. I made some brownies today. Get one about this big, put it at the bottom of the bowl, throw a bunch of the chocolate Rocky Road ice cream. I'm going to put on top of it, pour the syrup, and then the hard shell.
Hey, don't
Slice
forget the
of
whipped cream,
banana
bro.
on top.
Whipped cream.
Whipped cream too, yeah, real whipped cream. I'm just going to go down there and I'm just going to pig out.
Look at Alan. He's like, fuck you guys.
He's like, "Fuck that asshole." Good seeing you, man. Appreciate you coming on. We had a great chat, lots of good conversation. Side chat was popping all night. It's awesome. Good deal. If you guys didn't see, I did drop a video yesterday, pretty late, but go check that out. MCK, awesome. So very, very cool. With that, I'm gonna throw it over to Alan to take us off, right?
Oh man, it was a good chat. It was a good chat. We don't normally set up any topics or anything like that. We had a couple of greats in here in the room tonight. Greatly appreciated. Glad to everybody that was on the panel, everybody in the side chat. While that was all happening, I did get the trigger swapped out in the 1022 there. This is not a firearm, YouTube. This is only part of one. But with that said, this is a full magazine and it's loaded, and there's one in the chamber.